I'm joined by Urmas Reinsalu, Foreign Minister of Estonia. Thank you very much for taking your time. You've long pushed for the establishment of an international special tribunal to hold those in the Kremlin accountable, responsible for their crimes. How far have you got with this idea? How concrete are these plans?
I think that a certain paradigmatic change has appeared, that also a bigger Western European countries have joined a certain core group of accountability, although there are some differing angles how to address the issue, whether this is a clear particular tribunal on Russian aggression crime established on the basis of General Assembly mandate, or whether some kind of hybrid type of tribunal. And I strongly support the first version because it gives also a leverage to overcome immunity of Putin himself and Lavrov. Otherwise, we will stop in the half of the road, and this is not acceptable.
Can you specify hybrid? What do you mean?
Well, these debates have been maybe that establish a tribunal under the Ukrainian law with some elements of international, like a judges panel and so on. But my message is that we need a full-scale international court, particularly on Russian Federation aggression crime, and dedicating to take into responsibility these people, these top leaders from Kremlin who decided to launch this genocidal war.
We heard from the French President Emmanuel Macron and from German Chancellor Olaf Scholz that this war might drag on for some time. They said it in words that they so far haven't really said in public very often. And at the same time, Ukrainian President Zelensky says he could end this war within this year. So what is the European strategy then? Is it caution or speed?
I think speed should be. And I would paraphrase President Zelensky's message. Ukrainians are ready. Just give us more leverage, more weapons, was President Zelensky's message. And if you are not doing that, so we collectively will be responsible of prolonging the war in that case. So we do have in our possession a lot of economic leverage, a lot of different conventional weapon systems, and we should use it immediately. That was the reason also Estonia has now over 1% of our GDP delivered as a military aid to Ukraine, and we call immediately other NATO member countries to follow this example.
Ursula von der Leyen and others have said that also the weapons need to be standardized across Europe. Is that something that is high on your agenda, or what needs to happen now so that we get to a more responsive Europe?
I think the one element is to give what we are in our possession to Ukraine. The second element, and the very strategic one, is now to have a pan-European political intent to create a mechanism of procurement of ammunition. Because now it is absurd, not absurd, but dramatic situation. Russia uses shells per day amount what Europe produces in month. And this is something we can't accept. We need to show Ukrainians, show Putin that we are determined and Ukrainians will get all the ammunition they need. And surely Europe needs to rise, the nations of Europe need to rise the defense costs. And I think that Estonia, we have put 3% of GDP threshold. And before the Vilnius summit, NATO, we will make a pledge, call, let's put a new target instead of 2, what many countries are reluctant to follow, to put 2.5, and very important, 1/4 of that money should go to the new capabilities. New capabilities are core.
How does this war end?
With Ukrainian victory. If this war could be interpreted as a Putin victory, it will mean that there will be no peace in Europe, and evil will repeat itself in another modus operandi. And so we need to end this war so that with the respect of territorial integrity, and also with a clear understanding that aggressors will pay for aggression, and we need to see Russia in future as an entity which can't dictate to its neighbors their way of life.
What will our relationship with Russia be after the war?
Trust in relations with Russia depends on surely outcome of war, and it means on accountability of Russia and on Russian also readiness to compensate the losses Russia has caused. But we need to take into consideration that any appeasement towards Russia, we have to learn from the near past, has encouraged aggressor, not vice versa.
Will there be peace with Russia under Putin?
Russia has not given up a centimeter of its intent to annihilate Ukraine as a state and nation. And therefore, I think that all these false flagship calls of peace, we should take these not seriously. They are just attempts to fool us, and therefore we need to. Peace will be created, established on battlefields of Ukraine, and who wins will be decided also by our support. Current support is not enough because it will make a war very long, and of course Ukraine suffers more because war is going on in Ukrainian soil. To end this war, we need to act more, we need to have a paradigmatic change. We need to give to Ukraine what is needed, not to avoid Ukrainian losing, but to help Ukraine winning.
Urmas Reinsalu, Estonian Foreign Minister, thank you very much.